I got a 2017 Chrysler Pacifica 3.6 liter. We are going to remove this front driver's side lower control arm. First thing we need to do is remove the 19mm lug nuts that's holding our wheel on there and get our wheel out of the way. Now that we got our wheel removed, what I like to do is while I'm waiting to get my other parts removed, I like to go ahead and spray my axle nut with a little bit of penetrating spray so that can already be working on it. So first thing we're going to do after we get our wheel removed, we're going to come around to the back side and we are going to remove these 21mm bolts back here for our caliper, get those bolts removed off and get this caliper and this roller out of the way. What we're going to do next is we are going to remove these two 22mm screws out of the strut so that we can drop down our spindle so that we can ultimately release our power steering rack as well as our axle to get our spindle and lower control on. Now that we remove those 22mm nuts on this side, we can go ahead and whack these bolts with our mallet and give it a good whack, knock those bolts out so our spindle will drop down. Now we're going to take our 21mm and we're going to remove this nut off of our power steering rack so that we can release our outer tie rod in. We'll get a little of that 21 and then we're also going to remove 32. It's a 32mm axle nut socket before we get down here to our 18s on our control arm. Once we get that 21mm out for our outer tie rod in, and we also get our 32mm nut off of our axle, our spindle basically drops down. Just don't forget that you do have this brake sensor right here, so don't forget about that. But after this point, we'll be able to go ahead and tap out our axle, and it should be able to pop out of our spindle on the back side so that we can drop down our spindle and go ahead and grab off our control arm. So on this bottom side, we got two 15s, a 21, and two 24s that we got to take out of our lower control arm so that we can drop the rest of this assembly. Mind you that after you drop all of these nuts and bolts, the control arm and the spindle will drop. So make sure you're holding it so that it does not fall on you. Lastly, remove the 18 and separate.